Yesterday we talked about 1 Peter chapter 4 verses 1 and 2. In these verses we learn that Peter's argument is this, that since Jesus Christ is the one who suffered for our sins, who has carried us into salvation, who rose again from the dead, who's given us a new life, who is exalted in heaven, we are to follow him and his will and not even the passions of our own flesh. It's not my right to do wrong. When I belong to Jesus Christ, it is my responsibility to follow him. Today, we're called upon to a life of surrender. It's not a matter of, Lord, do I have to do what's right? It's a matter of surrendering. It's saying, Lord, I give up. I can't do this on my own, but Lord, I am willing and ready to obey your will. It's a surrender. And it's sometimes something we have to surrender 100 times a day, constantly surrendering to the Lord and not to the flesh. So let's read about that in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 3. Now remembering already that we've been told that we're no longer to serve our human passions, but do the will of God. For the time that is past suffices for doing what the Gentiles want to do. Listen, we had our chance to sin. That's in the past. And we found out what sin does. It decays. It destroys. It distracts us from the things of God. And so he says, living in sensuality, passions, drunkenness, orgies, drinking parties, and lawless idolatry. All of these things are to be surrendered to the Lord. It's not easy. When we are born with a sinful nature, we are drawn into those traps. We have a weakness in the flesh. But the Lord is telling us that we are to arm ourselves with his truth. Arm ourselves with his will, and we can face the temptations of life. Those sins may be outward sins in the way that we behave. They may be internal sins in the way that we think. But whatever the passions that we had in the past, what the Lord wants us to do is surrender to him. He knows that we are tempted. He knows that we have human weakness. So the answer is not me fighting my own flesh, but the answer is surrendering my will to the will of God. And each time I make a choice to surrender to God's will, I strengthen my resolve so that I can fight against the passions of the flesh and live in the righteousness of Jesus Christ.